talk to me, what was your reaction when you read the script that Peter goes out of existence?
Well, in an unusual turn of events for Fringe, because generally it's pretty sort of, they lock in what they want, we actually developed that ending together, the writers and I just think it's such a cool cliffhanger at the end, and is kind of the right... It just seemed to me to be the right ending for everything that we built up about having to choose between the two universes, choose between the two girls, and ultimately the choice was not her or this side or that side. He had to sacrifice himself for the woman that he loved. I think that's about the most noble thing that you can do.
So looking back on the show, when you started the pilot, was this ever what you thought the fourth season would be?
No. No. We've come a long way, baby. I mean, the show, which is what's great about it, the show is so far, not removed, but has grown so much from the first season. I mean, the characters themselves are almost unrecognizable from season 1 to now. Walter has grown so much. Olivia finally last year came out of her shell. Peter, I think, is a completely different guy from where he started. So, I think the show has moved, but I think all shows should move. I mean, if you're trying to tell those long-form narratives, you can't have everything the same all the time.
And sort of lastly, real quick, looking back on the show, what was after you did the pilot, what was sort of the biggest surprise you learned about Peter since then that you're like, wow, I really have a handle on the character?
When we first... It didn't inform too much my understanding of the character because he wasn't conscious of it. But when we first introduced the other side and that Peter was from the other side, that was the first like, oh, I didn't see that one coming.
Cool. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Thanks so much. Hey, Josh. So, they always talk about actors saying in TV they have to play the same character over and over for 7 years. You've had 2 different iterations, now you get 2 more of each of those. How hard is it to sort of unpack what Peter's meant to your characters and sort of do something different with that performance?
How hard is it? Yeah. Thankfully this came like we've been doing this show for 2 years, so all of those things that were really hard in the beginning, like learning your lines or dealing with the amount of time you actually at work and all of that kind of stuff had settled. So then when these characters popped up, you had all this free time anyway to kind of really embrace it and play. And what happens is when you're engaged like that, it just becomes a joy. And so last season was just a real joy for me anyway. And for me too, because Olivia was so, she's exhausting because she's just so serious and so kind of down all the time that I didn't really realize how much that really does affect you when you're walking in someone's shoes, every day. So to have a go at the little bit more bouncy.
What about William Bell?
Oh, Belly, that was just
hysterical.
That was just an anxiety boost.
And for you?
What's the question?
The challenge is sort of, because Peter's such a huge influence on your character's life, to sort of take that out. How does that sort of affect your performance?
That's what you were talking about, Peter. I'm sorry.
That's right. Your answer was great.
Completely disconnected.
I don't think look. We're a television show. We know that Walter and Olivia have had this part of their life, even if in their imaginations. So you can never see Walter or Olivia without a Peter in their life. Even if he doesn't exist, there's going to be a ghost. That works. And I think we can play that through. And when Joshua does come back, we'll develop it a different way.
Because it's TV, it's fluid, and so we haven't quite finished shooting episode 1 of 22, so we're still kind of finding our feet with that, because it's a big shift for us too. It's like a big dynamic, shift, meaning the dynamics.
Yeah. And we miss him, but it's another acting challenge.
Yeah.
And lastly, real quick, when you first read the script for Fringe, is this sort of anything you'd ever thought the show would be like 4 years later?
No, I mean not now where we are. No, of course not.
Well, the prospect of doing a show for 4 years to me was exhausting.
It was my first pilot.
Yeah, mine too.
Well done.
We both
I got a good batting average.
We both auditioned out of Australia. We did our first pilot.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks very much.
Wow. Good.
Cool.
So you're sort of a newcomer to the show. What was your sort of first experience watching the show? Were you familiar with it going in, or?
I first watched as a fan, and then Akiva Goldsman asked me to be a guest star at the end of season 2, and I got to be in like the alt universe, which was really cool and really badass. class because we had all different kinds of weapons and technology and ear cuffs, and they gave me like a cool military funky haircut, so I was just like really excited. And the cast on the whole just really embraced me and took me in, and then when I was lucky enough to be asked back the following season, just I felt more and more like a family, and now I'm a regular on the show, which is so awesome, and I'm just having fun.
So we finally met your character over here. Was that surprising what he turned out to be?
Yeah, I was so happy because I was hoping that the character over here of Lincoln would be a bit nerdier and more insecure. I have a tendency to skew that way, and so I always felt like a fraud playing this like tough head of the fringe division in the alt world when Royals isn't around. And so it was so nice to kind of like have all that macho-ness and then go to being like, hey, what's going on here?
Do you know what the connective tissue is between them? Do you feel like you have there's a symbiotic between who they are?
Yeah. I mean, I think each of them is learning a different, learning how to have power in their lives and learning where that power comes from. And it's a very subtle thing because it's, I think their power comes from heart essentially and from caring so much and having a love and a need and desire. And a driving force to protect the things that you love. And I think that's what makes the alt Lincoln so strong. He's willing to fight for what he believes in. And I think that the Lincoln on our side is going to learn to have that force of power as well.
And I'll say, what was your favorite of the cool, you mentioned the cool weapons you got to use, what was your favorite to play with?
I really loved when I was in like a nanite regeneration chamber. I went from this wheelchair and I had all my wounds and I went inside this thing and it filled with like a mist and it sealed shut, and then I was healed after. That was so cool.
Well, thank you so much. So I'm fascinated by Astrid on the other side and how unique she is. Was there something in the script that you latched onto that said, this is how I'm going to go play her, this is how I'm going to...
Yes, it's the line that said she was autistic, and I thought, alrighty, there we go. As far away as you could possibly get from the Astrid that had been established here, she's very empathetic, and she has these close relationships with everyone. And the Astrid on the other side doesn't have that. But it doesn't mean that she is not incredibly important to the French team over there. And so I love that you get to see, she's the only character who's different to the core. It's not that she's had different experiences and made different decisions. It's just that she was born completely different. So I really like being able to get to play that.
And we have yet to meet you on the other side.
Well, that's what we were talking about. It's curious. Jeff and Joel always have ideas about them. I know they reel them to us in small sort of morsels. So I'm not sure that we haven't met Nina on the other side, and that maybe we'll come to discover what that is. So
and obviously, Peter being written out of existence is a big deal going into season 4.
Well, it is.
Do you feel like in your character, is there something, your relationship with him, that you're taking, that you have to remove from your performance now that you don't know him?
Well, I think it's huge. I mean, also just the facts that our characters' lives are different. If Peter wasn't there, Walter didn't inherit massive dynamics, so who did? Trust. I would never trust Nina, but I think she's a person who's had hidden agendas, and I think this year they'll be less hidden.
Great. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you very much.
So the first 2 years, you sort of your character's very standoffish. You didn't get to see much inside of him. We went to the other side. We got to sort of unpack what's going on in his head, being a family man, with kids and stuff. Was that a relief to sort of get sort of a window into sort of what makes him work, makes him tick?
Well, it's tricky because I feel like Royal's character changed a lot between from the first season through the second season. Anyway, I felt that he was much more Machiavelli in the first season, and that was very interesting and very fun to play. But at the same time, as the second season went on, I felt that he was more. He became kind of gentle Royals, but you still didn't really know a lot about him. You didn't have a lot of window into him, except for the episode where you get a glimpse of basically that old case, the cosmonaut, where you find that was the straw that broke the camel's back with his relationship with his wife. So being able to play alternate Royals, where you get to see kind of all the stuff that you had to infer from the primary Royals the first couple of seasons, was really great because I felt like it actually helped me enrich the primary Broyles character.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks.